With the Royal Rumble being a few weeks away, I'll probably do some videos over the next couple of weeks that tie into the Royal Rumble, either of this year or of the past or overall. And that's where we're at today. I am here to share with you my 10 worst Royal Rumble match winners of all time. Oh boy, shouldn't this be a fun trip down dog shit lane? Yeah! All right. I'm sure some of you will agree with some of these ones that I've called out, some of the placements of them, and others you won't. I really don't care if you do or not. It's my list. You are certainly welcome in the comments to share your list of top 10 worst Royal Rumble match winners of all time. It's my fucking list, all right? We're going to get started here. Honorable mention 2004. To have a Royal Rumble and have no winner. If you don't get what I'm saying, then what's wrong with you? Anyways, all right. Number 10, last year, Cody Rhodes. Fuck Cody Rhodes. The hate for him will always be real. They didn't have to make him the goddamn Royal Rumble winner for the second year in a row. Regardless of what happened after the fact with injury and everything else, it should have been CM Punk. It was stupid. They just had to force Cody Rhodes for a second fucking time in a row. Lottie frickin' da. Hey, if I hated him that much, he'd be much higher on the list, I promise you. But I hated this, so it makes it at number 10. Number 9, 2018 Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah, like where did they go with that? Was that really a great Rumble win? Or is it a typical type of, oh, the hardcore fans just absolutely love it, and it was fucking lame. It was lame then, it's lame now looking back at it. Fuck that Royal Rumble and fuck Shinsuke winning it. Number 8, 2022, Ronda Rousey. Yeah, that's what you needed to have her win the Rumble just so that way she could lose to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Charlotte was going to make sure she fucking got hers, huh? Yeah, like, yeesh. If it had been several years earlier, you could make an argument for Ronda Rousey winning the Rumble. But 2022? Yikes. I don't know about that one, homies. Just saying. Number 7, 2013 John Cena. Another one of these examples of you could have gotten to the match you wanted to get to without having to throw the Royal Rumble behind it. And at the time, you could have gotten a lot more bang for your buck, in my opinion, if you would have had Ryback be the one to win it. And things just never went the same after that. But no, they just had to insist on John Cena being the one just so that way they could throw the Royal Rumble winner at The Rock at WrestleMania. And it's not that egregious. And to be fair here, when I look at the history of the Royal Rumble, you're talking about over 35 years of this shit. It's harder to pick a lot of truly shitty Rumble winners. I want to be clear here. Like, even as you look at this list, the first 4 I've named, I don't like any of these winners, but they aren't like super egregious, like rant and rave type of bad. They really aren't, but it's top 10 worst Royal Rumble match winners of all time, so you got to have 10 of them, and here's where we're fucking at. Now after this is where the shit starts to get really stupid in my opinion. Number 6, 1994, Bret Hart and Lex Luger. The one time we had co-winners of a Royal Rumble match. This is fucking dumb. Pick one. Either Luger or Bret. The whole concept of them doing this shit. So that way you could have 2 world title matches at WrestleMania 10. Fuck that shit. Like, props to Yoko for the fact that he wrestled as a big guy like him 2 world title matches in one night. But nah, this was dog shit, man. Folks might look back on this fondly. I don't know why. Just because it happened 30 years ago and just because it might have included wrestlers that you like doesn't mean that it was any fucking good. You want a perfect example of that? Number 5 on my list, 1990 Hulk Hogan. This Royal Rumble is most memorable for the confrontation, the stare down, and the interaction between Hogan and the Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, and you were planting the seeds here for the champion versus champion main event that was going to take place at WrestleMania at the Skydome. But in 1990, Hogan was already the world champion. He didn't fucking need to win the Royal Rumble 2 and eliminate Mr. Perfect last. Come on, Terry! Oh, that doesn't work for me, brother. I gotta win this if I'm gonna do the job at Mania, brother. Like, this was just dog shit. Warrior should have fucking won this one, period. Or if you want to go in a different direction, because I know at the time it really wasn't about the Rumble gives you the guy that's going to take on the champion at Mania. You could have had Perfect win it. You could have had Warrior interfere. You could have done any number of things other than what they did. Hogan winning in 90 was stupid. I'm sorry. It fucking was. No, I'm not sorry because it was fucking stupid. It should have been Warrior. It should have been Mr. Perfect, and I'll die on that fucking hill. Number 4, Charlotte Flair. You know, I feel like I'm doing the Lord's work here, and someday, some fucking day, I will be vindicated because I'm first. Charlotte Flair is the fucking worst. Too many of you still buy the WWE forced propaganda and the bullshit and try to convince yourself that she's some type of great talent. She's fucking not. She's sloppy as shit in the ring, no charisma, don't put a fucking live microphone in her hand, oh my fucking God. Just dog shit. In 2020, this was shit because they had her win the Rumble just so she could take on the NXT champion at the time was Rhea Ripley, and instead of doing big things for Rhea Ripley at that moment, they of course had to sit there and have Charlotte Flair go over and fuck all that shit. And you're going to say, well, this is as much about, you're bitching as much about what happened at Mania. Well, the reality is, like, that part of the deal here, right? Like, what did this lead to? It sucked having Charlotte Flair win the Rumble. That was stupid. And then having her go beat Ripley for the NXT title was even more ridiculous. So fuck that decision. And fuck Charlotte Flair's overrated, mediocre ass. Wannabe Randy Orton. She could never be in that light, even on her best day. Number 3, 1999, Vince McMahon. Like, obviously, the story between Austin and McMahon was incredible. It's all-time stuff, right? But here's the reality. This entire Royal Rumble match was all about Austin and McMahon. Nothing else fucking mattered. It just did not. It was about these two guys. It came down to those two. And Vince wins it just to end up not even wrestling for the title at WrestleMania. I mean, what the fuck? Like, this is an example of storyline-wise, character-wise, it made a shit ton of sense. But just because it makes sense and is logical doesn't always mean it's good, interesting, entertaining, or the right decision to make. This was bad. Let's accept it. Number 2. I damn near put this at number 1, but it is firmly entrenched at number 2. 2011, Alberto Del Rio. I understand what they were going for at the time. They're like, hey, we need to push a new Latin Hispanic star. Here's what we got, so we're going to fucking go with them. But I believed it back then, and I still believe it now, and even more strongly. Alberto Del Rio winning the Royal Rumble was dog shit, and the rightful winner should have been Santino Marella. I'll never back down from that take. There are 2 opinions to have on who should have won the 2011 Royal Rumble. Santino Marella or an irrelevant wrong one. Just so he could go and not win the title at WrestleMania. It was so fucking stupid. You could have had Santino done that. You could have made a whole story out of him being an unlikely challenger and getting this moment in the sun and having an opportunity. You could have maneuvered your champions to make it somebody that made sense. Santino wrestling for the title at WrestleMania would have given him a WrestleMania moment that he frankly deserved, that would have went over really well with the audience. And instead we got Alberto Del Rio. It was one of those ones you weren't surprised at, but it was dog shit. And I'll never fucking forgive the company for not giving Santino Marella that fucking Rumble win. But let's be real here. there's only one choice for worst Royal Rumble winner of all time. And it shouldn't surprise you even when I say the name because of the time. It's got to be 2015 Roman Reigns. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they even tried to throw The Rock at this and it couldn't save it. That Philly crowd shit all over this. You had fans starting hashtags like cancel WWE Network. Like, this was a major significant problem. This is the most poorly received Royal Rumble win ever by a country fucking mile. At a time where they were trying to make Roman Reigns this watered down Samoan version of John fucking Cena that was destined to never fucking work. And guess what? It ultimately didn't fucking work. Yeah, this is the worst. Like, it was just god awful. Now, was it petulant, bratty fucking behavior by the fans sitting there and being like, Daniel Bryan never did it earlier. This makes me mad and I'm going to rage because my guy didn't win. Yeah, a little fucking bit. Like, it was bitch behavior then, and it's even bigger bitch behavior now. You might have liked Daniel Bryan, but folks, he wasn't that fucking special, all right? He wasn't worth raging over to the fucking moon, I promise you that. Nonetheless, WWE wasn't smart enough to see what could happen when they booked it this way. You were better off not having Daniel Bryan in the match at all. You just couldn't go here. And they did. And they forced it. You know, it was bad to the point where the crowd was roundly behind Rusev. I'm sorry, but like, that whole scene of The Rock holding up Roman's hand and going like this and be like, you tried to get me to save this shit, but it ain't fucking happening, brother. Like, yeah, and that's why that should have been the main event at WrestleMania 40 in Philly. It should have been Rock versus Roman because unlike Cody Rhodes finished the story, there was actually a fucking organic story on several different fucking levels here. Anyways, I digress. You can feel free to tell me who you think the worst Royal Rumble match winner of all time is. But for my money, with all that went into it, all that happened as a result, it's got to be 2015 Roman Reigns. God, that was fucking awful.